Hi, and welcome to another video by Get It Done Home Repairs. Today we're going to talk about how do you repair holes in the walls like this. You can see that this is a fairly large hole here, and a couple of drywall anchors are in here as well. We took off a panel that was here. It was actually a useless panel, but leaves us with a bunch of holes in the wall that we don't want to be looking at, something like that. So we're going to take this off, we're going to spackle it, and it'll be like it never was there before. While we're at it, we're going to also repair these holes up here, because I don't know what these were here, but they're going to be repaired at the same time. All right, so all you're going to need to get this job done is you're going to need spackle, of course. You can pick it up in your big box store. Not that I'm pushing this particular brand. This just happens to be the one that I'm using here. And this one here is a non-shrinking spackle. You want to get one that does not shrink, or very, very little shrinkage, because when you fill in these holes, you're going to think they're perfect, and you're going to make it nice and smooth. And a month from now, it's going to sink in, and you're going to have a little dimple, and it's going to be, showing. So I always use one that's called a non-shrinking spackle. I think that's exactly what it's called. Won't shrink or sink. So that's what this one is. But there's lots of other brands out there that do the exact same thing. The next thing you're going to need is you're going to need a spackle knife. And in this particular case, we're going to need a screwdriver and just a screw to take these mollies here out of the wall, because you don't want to spackle over mollies. When you spackle over mollies, you're going to wind up with a little bump there, and you're going to see it. It's going to be very visible. So we're going to take these out, and then we're going to, repair it like it was never there before. All right, then after it dries a little bit, you're going to need a sanding block or a piece of sandpaper to come in here and sand it nice and smooth. That's one way of doing it. I always do it with a damp cloth. We use a cloth, or you can use a paper towels. You can use anything that you can wet and just rub it away. So we're going to have the minimum amount of material here so that we don't have to really sand it or wet sand it in this particular case. All right, so enough talking. Let's get in here. Let's get started. We're going to take a screw like this. We're going to take it, we're going to screw it in just finger tight, and you just pull it, and it comes right out. And we're going to do that on all 4 of these drywall anchors. You just rock it back and forth, and they come out pretty easy. The main thing is you don't want to screw it in. You don't want to screw it in too far, because if you screw it in too far, the anchor is going to open up and it's going to hold inside the wall. So you just want to screw it in so it catches on the very, very tip of the screw. And then they come right out just like that. So now we have the holes here. Now how do you fill these holes? What I always do is take something that's rounded just like this here. Anything, doesn't have to be this particular one, but anything that's rounded like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to dimple this, so slightly push it in so that the material that we're going to put on there can have a nice thick base. So we're going to do it like this and just push it and turn it. And you'll see that it actually dimples in just a little bit. Here as well. Here, here, and here. Now this hole here is a lot larger than the other holes, but I'm not going to put a patch over the top of it. I'm actually just going to come in here and we're going to seal this up so that we can, so that it actually has time for the spackle to fill in and dry. All right, so now we have everything is pushed in just a little bit. We're going to take our non-shrinking spackle. We're going to take our knife, our spackling knife, and we're just going to put a little bit in here. We're going to push it into the hole so that it actually goes into the hole like that, and just smooth it over just like that. Now, the least amount of material that's exposed, you will not have to do a lot of sanding, so you want to try to get it as smooth as you possibly can at this point. And when you're comfortable with how it looks, then we can stop and let it dry. We're going to take some more material like this. We're going to come in here and you push it into the hole so that it goes in to the hole. The main thing is you want it to fill in so that the hole then becomes solid spackle. Okay? Do the same thing on the others, just like this, and push it in. Okay, we're going to do the last one here. Same thing, push the spackle into the hole. You can see we have one more right there as well, so I'm going to take care of that one too. You want to make it as smooth as you possibly can. Now this is pretty smooth here, so we don't have to worry about coming in here and doing anything right now. We're just going to let this dry. This should take a few hours to possibly a day to dry thoroughly, but that is finished right there. Now we're going to let it dry and then we'll come back to it. In the meantime, we're going to do the exact same thing on these three right here, and that'll be finished as well. So we're going to push the spackle into the hole, just like that. Okay, so now we're going to let this dry. It'll, like I said, it'll take a couple of hours to possibly a day to thoroughly dry. You want to make sure it's thoroughly dried before you come in here and do anything. You want to make sure it's dry. And then, as I said, you come in here with a piece of sandpaper and you can sand it smooth. This is a sanding block just made for that, so it's a nice flat, straight area where it's not going to show any kind of a dimple or any kind of a bump or anything like that. So you can use the sanding block on it, or what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a wet rag, just come in here and wipe it away, and then it's ready for paint. But that's it. Easy job when you know what to do. Main thing is you want to make sure you get that spackle that I was telling you about. It's a non-shrinking. Very, very important, because I've done it before where I used one that was less expensive, and less expensive is not better. Less expensive, and it's more going to wind up being more visible than this one would be. All right, but that's it. This job is done. We're going to let it dry, wet sand it, do one more coat on it, and it'll be good to go. It'll be like it was never there before. All right, that's it. We're done, and on to the next one. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.